What up? There's the beer.
Hey. Good afternoon, beautiful people.
Caleb's drinking a beer. I'm drinking a Monster. Sporting tie gift.
I'm drinking me a Bud Conrady Coors Light.
You can explain
for
to
those
the
of you
people
that
what
don't
that
know,
means.
My dad's name is Bud, and when I was growing up, he had Coors Light sitting behind the seat in a 12-pack that he'd never put on ice. And whenever he ran out, he'd just turn around, reach around, grab a Coors Light, and start drinking it. It could be 100 degrees outside. It could be 32 degrees outside. Whatever temperature it was, that's how hot the beer was. So we got a room temperature Coors Light going on.
32 degrees beer ain't too bad.
Man, that was a tough one for you.
Yeah, it's been a weird day.
It has been. Right before we started this podcast, you thought you were in the room. I was in the room with you. It was just because you forgot I was on speakerphone, and so your microphone was picking me up twice.
I hadn't used my computer in a couple days, and it was acting weird. Well, it's not this morning. It's this afternoon. Today was the first day I've had to sleep in a week.
Dude.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I've ever had a busier set of like 8 days, maybe in my whole entire life.
Preach, brother.
I know, and I know you agree.
God,
I know you agree,
man.
But it's just
this is genuinely the first day where I've been in one place the entire day, have not gone anywhere. I'm just with you right there. It's been the busiest 10 days of my entire life. So
it's just been crazy. That's why there was no podcast last week. Me and Caleb started with everything. With Travis and rehearsals and shows and just everything. I mean, it's just been busy. There's no other way to describe it. So,
yeah,
we're back.
I mean, that's the hard part about rehearsals is I feel like it's not supposed to be an entire day's worth of work, but it ends up being an entire day's worth of work.
Yeah, and we're there all day, like from 10 a.m. to like 8 or 9, pretty much.
Just and building stuff and working on stuff. It never quits.
Yeah. It's not just like it's the most grueling work in the world. It's just you're just busy you're just busy the whole time. That's the best way to explain it. It's not like you're picking up, it's not like you're working at an oil rig or something for 12 hours. It's not that kind of work. It's just like there's always some kind of work or something to be done in rehearsals. So we only had 4 days. So like we kind of had to make the most of those 4 days.
It's balls to the wall for sure. We usually would have 6 days. This year we only had 4. So we had to kind of cram everything into 2 fewer days than we normally would have. All the while we got a new tour manager out with us now.
Yep.
And
he's
we're
awesome.
training him up, and he's phenomenal. He has been doing some great work. He's doing the Lord's work out there right now.
Yeah, he has been a savior. He's been incredible.
Yeah, no doubt. So it's been a weird and wild couple weeks, so apologies. No previous podcast was recorded for Richmond. We did our best. We were thinking about it. We tried to talk about finding some time, but honestly, we just never really had a good chance for it.
There's literally no time. Like I said, when you're working like 12 hours a day, it's like, when's the time,
Yep. It's either that or we do it at midnight, and by the time we're done, I am mentally fried. I think I was at rehearsals for maybe a total of like 6 hours out of the entire time. I feel like I was just gone the whole time.
Yeah. Had the first 2 shows this weekend too. Played Rock the
Gonzalez.
Country thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is, I feel like everybody in America knows about this now. Well, they have. I feel like they've known about it before now, but now my whole TikTok is just videos of various artists in 2 days, I think it was like 7 bands the second day, and we had 5 the first. So it was like
exactly
like 12 bands in 2 days.
Yeah, I think you said it best. I think you are the one that said it best. We had 2 headlining arena acts in country music with Jason Aldean and Co Wetzel on the same stage, and we were the ones that had to go right before them. So you talk about just a festival of all festivals. It had everything. It didn't matter what kind of country music fan you were entertained at some point.
As a fan, considering I like 95% of the people that are on all of these shows, especially when you got like Miranda Lambert coming up and Hank Jr. and Brantley Gilbert and like some people that like are on my like country music Mount Rushmore, you know?
Yeah.
When you like as a fan, like going to these shows and like doing the 2-day experience, like I mean, it would be awesome, you know, to go to this and like, you know,
almost
camp
enough
out, like,
to make you buy a festival ticket.
Well, that's the thing. It's like people I have heard nonstop about everybody because there's one coming to Rome in a couple weeks, and I've had everybody and their mother ask me for a ticket,
Ooh.
and everybody's talked about how expensive these tickets are, and I'm like, okay, well you got to look at like the level of artists that are on every single one of these shows. Like somebody's got to we got to get paid somehow.
Yeah. Do you know how much these tickets are?
Yeah, it's like I think they're like $200-something each day, I believe.
That's it? People are, oh my gosh. Dude, people pay $150 to come to our show on a regular day.
Yeah, it's like, and that's like our
show,
max,
but
that's not the camping and all that stuff. But yeah, it's like you're seeing like 5 arena. If you go to both days, you're seeing like 5 arena acts in 2 days, and then not counting all the legacy people like Travis and Hank, and then all the up and comers like, you know, we had Kobe Cooper and I can't remember who else played. LV Shane, you know, up and coming people that have, you know, like, you know, that have 1 or 2 hits on the radio. So
yeah,
it's like a cool mix of like these young guys, huge legacy act, and then 2 huge acts each night that all respectively sell out their own arenas across America. So
yeah,
it's just crazy I say they got all this ticket together.
Yeah, and when I say that ticket isn't expensive, that's exactly what I'm saying. At least just for the 1-day attendance, a $200 ticket to see all of that is an unbelievable deal.
Yeah,
considering you'd normally pay $50 to sit in a general, $50 to $75 to sit in a really kind of, you know, mild seat for a Travis show. And that's just for Travis. I mean, you talk about going to see Co or going to see Jason, depending on the venue, you could be spending almost that exact same amount just to go to one show with them and maybe 2 openers. So, yeah. I don't know. I think it's definitely worth it. I could see it getting expensive in the camping area, but if you get enough friends together, you could split that cost up. I mean, I've spent a lot to go to NASCAR races, so it just depends on what you're into, you know?
I literally, while we were sitting on the dock there where we load the trucks, the camping area at this specific place was literally right there. I mean, it was a gravel road distance from where we loaded the trucks to where
directly
all the people
the
were.
Stage.
And I literally said that to you. I was like, this is like a NASCAR race right here, like a little 2-day, you know, you probably get there a day before, a little Thursday, Friday, Saturday action, you know, kind of deal. Yeah, they got to get the shower situation figured out before I come unglued. But other than that,
we get done with the entire
day. It was a long day.
Anybody that's
great. It was a long day.
It was a long day. The hardest part for us is we've done these festivals a million times. We are good at them. We know what we're doing. We get complimented all the time. I'm not trying to brag on ourselves, but our crew is a really good crew. We have a really tight-knit group of people that knows what we're doing. We trust each other.
Our stuff is organized, is what everyone tells me.
Yes, we're organized.
Like the stagehands say, like, our stuff is the most organized of people they see.
Yes. So we have a really good system going on for festivals. But you know what really can mess up a really good system going to a festival is making it your very first show of the entire year. We haven't done a full man show since, what was it, first weekend of December? So that's already
like
almost 4 months ago. 4 months ago. I can walk you through a Travis Tritt load in and load out pretty much any time of the year. If you'd ask me, I could tell you step by step what I would do. But at the first show of the year, I have to genuinely knock some rust off and think about everything from start to finish. Am I forgetting anything? Is there anything that I didn't do? You just gotta make sure that you're correct again. So doing it for the first time at a hot outdoor festival when we're third in line with 2 major acts going on right behind us, man, you talk about a challenge. I mean, it wore us out. I heard you talking just at Billy Bob's. You were hurting.
Dude, that's the sorest I've ever been. The sorest I'd been previously was the first time we ever went to the Blue Mile in Mississippi when I walked like almost 30,000 steps. I was like, my feet.
Yeah.
And this was like probably 2 years. I've been there twice now, but this was like 2 years ago. Like the first time was probably into 2021 or beginning of 2022. And I was like, my feet have never felt this way ever in my life. I was like, what is up with this? And then I look at my stepping thing, and it's like the record-breaking steps for like one day. It was like almost 30,000, you know? And then, yes, the first show, yes, you're knocking off rust. You're not in tour shape. There's no concrete or anything. It's all gravel, so that also didn't help. And
That's
then, dude,
got
up. I got up for Billy Bob's on Saturday morning.
Day 2.
Yeah, day 2. And thank God we didn't even load in until like noon. But, dude, I got up, and from about my middle of my back all the way to my feet, just excruciating. Like, I was bent over trying to stretch it out. I was like, what in the world is going on? Like, it felt like I was like either squatted or deadlifted like the most weight nonstop. That's what it felt like. That's what my body felt like. And it'll
do it to you.
By the end of the day, I was all loosened up and fine, and then woke up Sunday morning, was fine. Everything was like loose and good to go. But it was just that first day being all that. I was sore as hell. Bud, same way. Bud had to go to the doctor. Bud went to the chiropractor in the middle of the day on Saturday. I don't even know if you know that.
I did know that. Yeah, he had to make a special trip.
It was just, all of us were just like, got our ass beat pretty much.
No doubt.
And that's just part of it, you know. It just is what it is. But it was rough. It was rough.
I was definitely feeling it for sure. I luckily didn't have to sell I didn't have to sell merch, and I didn't have to shuck a lot of t-shirts because we only had so much. I knew we weren't going to sell very much. It's a festival. You never sell much. Yeah. But I will say that second day we were at Billy Bob's, Texas, and everybody knows I'm from North Texas. And I've been to Billy Bob's to see Randy Travis, Josh Turner, Robert Earl Keane. Texas Hill played there last year. I saw them play.
Your 21st birthday was Robert Earl Keane, correct?
21st birthday was Robert Earl Keane at Billy Bob's, yeah. So I have loved that venue for years. I've always enjoyed going there. And this last Saturday was my very first chance to work the show. And I'll say, for something you look forward to for so many years, to finally work a show at the place where you grew up doing shows, it was the friendliest, nicest group of people that ran that event. They were constantly checking on us, making sure that we were good. Even when I was out selling merch, every about 30 minutes, one of their employees over the merch department, would come and check on me and make sure that I didn't need anything. Do you need a drink? Do you need something to eat? Do you need us to watch the stand so you can go use the restroom? I mean, that stuff has never happened to me before as a merch seller in my entire life. And they were doing it every 30 minutes.
Yeah, so it was awesome.
Man, huge shout out to Billy
Robert
Bob's.
Gallagher is his name, correct?
I actually never got to meet Robert out of the entire day. He was never around when I was in the backstage area. I was disappointed by that, but that was just bad timing.
He hung out back there for a while. Once he got there, he hung out in the back for a while with all of us backstage. And then Big A, Aaron, also, he was great. The security guy that was back there with us, the little blonde-headed guy, he was great. You know, he was like, he was the first security guy that I'd ever met that did security and also got everybody's food, which was super cool and great. It was great all the way around. The only thing that I would change is not starting the show at 10:15.
Late shows at Billy Bob's, man.
We didn't get done at like 2 a.m. Somebody was like, "Yeah, I think the bus is leaving at 1:30." I turned around and said, "We won't be in the truck at 1:30." I was like, "Nope, no chance." I was like, "The bus is gonna leave with nobody on it."
Yeah, it's a late show there. The wild part is I had to sell merch from 6 p.m. until the show was done and everybody cleared. I was selling merch from 6 p.m. till about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you sold merch for like a full day's worth of work, like an 8-hour day worth of work after already doing everything else.
My feet were tired after that.
Yeah,
But, it was awesome.
Billy Bob's. It was cool to play.
I cannot wait to go back there again. The only thing I'd do different is I'd get a merch seller next time so I can actually enjoy the show a little bit. And my family got to come down. I had 13 different people there. Allison came, her cousins came, all the way from Indiana. So we
got to see your family. That was cool.
Now that's what I'm doing, is hanging out down here. And my cousin just had a house fire, so I'm gonna go over and see if I can help her out a little bit and see what I can do for them.
House fires are following y'all around.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. But once you go through one, you're a verified house fire expert. So I'm going to go see her and see how she's doing, her and her family. And she just had a baby on Monday. She had a house fire on Saturday. She had a house fire on last Thursday, and she had a baby on Monday. So they're really going through it right now. So we're going to try to see what we can do. That is a lot.
That's probably enough to put a guy like me in the hospital.
Yeah, you'd have had a heart attack by now. I'm glad it's not you going through it.
I've been so stressed out. I'd have been too stressed out.
Yep. You're going to have to cook outside after Lindsay gets pregnant, just to make sure we don't have any incidents.
Yeah. Speaking of cooking outside, it's funny you say that. Saturday, we're having a full-blown, family reunion at the house. We're doing a low country bowl and boiled peanuts outside. And Lindsay's folks are coming. My folks are coming. Some cousins are coming.
Randy, you're invited.
Randy, come on. Yeah, we're having a full-blown, I say family reunion. It's just kind of like we're getting both sides of the family all coming into one backyard kind of thing, And I've done the Low Country Bowl once in Florida, and my mom's been talking about how she literally since that day how she's been wanting to do another one. And we're off this weekend, so I was like, we actually made this plan a couple weekends ago about wanting to do it, and then I'd actually forgot about it until Lindsay reminded me, and I was like, oh hell yeah, we're doing that. We're doing this. So we're doing the full spread.
That's awesome.
Stale cracker style,
stale cracker.
Using his while we wait we hydrate, all that.
Yeah. I must be waiting
cooking
already.
outside. We'll be doing that. Hell, you should come down.
Man, I would love to. We're getting close to closing on this house, so it's just going to totally depend on how everything shakes out with all that. We're due for a closing on Thursday, not this Thursday.
That's
but
exciting.
Next.
That's exciting.
We're holding our breath. We're crossing our fingers. All 7 of these people that listen to this podcast are about the only 7 people that know that that's even happening. So we're working on it. But
hell yeah,
man, I guess we ought to make this a NASCAR podcast, shouldn't we?
There's not much NASCAR to talk about, so
oh man,
hey.
I'll tell you what, I wrote a little poem about this race. The only thing that makes this race more fun is drinking beer from lap number 1, because there is nothing else going on. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, drinking beer can make any race. This is the thing. I've said this before. Even a shitty people always say this about fishing, and I don't fish a whole lot, but a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of deal with racing. A bad race, drinking beer, hanging out at home, is still better than a good day at work, kind of thing.
That's the most positive thing you've said about a short track since 2021.
Yeah. I don't have much to say. Everything that needs or should be said, we have said the last few weeks. Nothing's changed. They haven't done anything. The drivers say it, and then when Joey Logano can go out and almost win a stage on 180 lap tires on the left sides, I mean, what more needs to be said than that? I mean, there's just no tire wear. And even Brian Murphy, who now works for RFK, screenshotted the picture of the little tire wear. They wrap the tire wear on they scrape it off on the little gauge, whatever.
Yeah.
He even posted after the 180 laps. He was like, this is not, the tires aren't even worn out.
Yeah.
He posted that about Logano's.
Still raced him. And it became,
I said this
in a bad way, part of the strategy at the end of the race. The fact that no tires were wearing out. They tried to build up that final pit stop that Denny Hamlin was the only taker. And he ended up dropping 2 spots after the restart because it didn't freaking matter that he had brand new Goodyears on.
Yeah, I don't get paid nowhere near the amount of money that Chris Gabehart gets paid, but you couldn't have paid me to come down pit road at the end of that race.
I mean, I think, to be honest, he was so far for Denny Hamlin this year, he was so far back, already being in 4th, and he can already. He knows that the furthest back he's going to go is 10th to 13th. It was like, you know what? Whatever. We're doing good.
Yeah,
we're not in. We
still,
already have a couple
top
race
5
wins.
Speed, and then
I think it was because he had the wins already.
They didn't even get a top 10. They threw away a top 10.
They did. I mean, I agree with you. They did. I just really feel like they're the only ones that had an opportunity to take a chance, other than William Byron. But William Byron's not going to pit from the lead. I think it was straight up just a moment of, man, I don't think this is going to do anything for us. But screw it. The worst we're going to do is somewhere around the early teens. I don't think Denny's too awful concerned about it. I mean, it does suck to miss out on a top 5, but even that wasn't guaranteed.
I will say, before that caution, and this happens all the time. Yeah. But that race was getting towards the end, and I was like, all right, there ain't going to be no caution because it's Martinsville, you know. It's 2024 Martinsville. There ain't going to be a caution. And, dude, I made like 8 bets, and I think like 7 of them were hitting.
Damn.
No shit. Like, I had let me see here. I had Denny Hamlin as a top Toyota. I had Ryan Blaney as a top Ford. I had Priest in the top 10, Bowman in the top 10.
Sounds like a lot of them still hit.
No, because it was a parlay with the Toyotas there.
Oh, gotcha. I thought that was like Ryan Blaney top 5, whatever you were saying. No. They're all just one by themselves.
I ended up. I lost $2. I bet like $45. I won 43. But
you're like Denny Hamlin. You made all these bets. You got ahead. You thought you were good. Then you did something crazy at the end, and you ended up losing 2.
The parlay with him and Blaney, which was hitting, they were running like 4th and 5th, right behind the Hendrick guys. That parlay was like $50-something, and all the other ones would have hit. So I would have like doubled my money.
Yeah,
and I had had Larson to win. I had Truex to win. That he ran like dog shit. He ran like 18th or something. Didn't expect that.
It was a little bit of an odd showing for them, but honestly, I think
it was weird.
It's just a matter of where you can end up track position wise at this point, and nothing's lamer than a track position race.
Totally. We started a little family NASCAR fantasy group on the app or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So it's me, Megan, and Mom, and Lindsay is now in there, and then Dad I think is joining. But we couldn't. It's to your point about NASCAR's app and such. It's the most complicated thing ever to try to like make an account and also join a league. It's just stupid. But anyway,
the
we're
NASCAR
all in there.
app needs so much work.
And I won. However you get the points. I don't even know how points get added, but I won. I had 200 points. Megan had 197, and Mom had 190. So we were all pretty close.
Dang.
But you go through and you pick like 5 drivers, and then you have like one backup guy, and then you also
can throw in at any point in the race before stage 3, right?
Yeah, something like that. And you have there's like 4 head-to-heads, and you get 10 points apiece if you hit those. And I hit the head-to-heads on there are way different than the head-to-heads on DraftKings, because the head-to-heads on there are almost like, duh, like this guy's going to finish better than this guy. You know what I mean? It's almost like that.
It's more like, is the guy that's better going to wreck?
Yeah. And so those were like pretty easy. But then, on DraftKings, it's like 2 guys that run, top 5 every week.
Yeah, somehow it's going to be like Bubba and Larson. They're going to be hitting each other's bumper the whole freaking time.
Yeah, so anyways, all that was cool, fun, whatever. It's just like the race was just not, I don't know. It just was no tire wear, damn track position, no passing ass Martinsville race. And these guys can like hit each other in the bumper so hard, and you don't even get moved out of so hard that the drivers talking about their heads are getting thrown back in the seats. Yeah. And it doesn't do a thing.
And here's a stat that got sent to us by Brandon Lee.
I don't understand.
Race started about 2:15 or so Central Time, and at 4:10, so about 2 hours into this race, 2 whole hours of this race that was mostly green, almost no cautions, 49 green flag passes at the 2-hour mark. Moment of silence for the loss of short tracks, but that number should never be that low. Not even 50. So you're telling me that nobody from first all the way down to whatever 40th, absolutely nobody was faster than the person in front of them? Not a single one of them? That doesn't make any sense to me. That just tells you everything you need to know.
They tell them on the broadcast, it's like these guys come in and they'll close on a guy so fast, and they can't get around him. I mean, you got the guy in the lead. I'm talking about the guy in the lead that has over a second lead, can't get around lap cars, and that just lets the second place car get close. Well, then the second place car can't pass first, and then first can't pass the lap cars. And as soon as they get to any car, okay, so like passing the 66 car, easy. It's just is what it is. You know, MB2 or whatever hadn't made a start in the Cup Series. They've only made like one next-gen start ever. But like once you get to a car, even like a Harrison Burton, like a quality car, another quality car cannot pass that car.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's frustrating.
It doesn't matter. You can be 2 seconds faster. I mean, literally, the lap times that Larson ran. This is in that first run, not even in the other runs when like Logano got in traffic or Hamlin got whoever. I'm just talking about like the first one they're having problems with, and they're like, he's just put, you know, I know the broadcast has to like beef this up a little bit, but they're like, he's just, you know, mowing them down. And at one point, there's like, he's already got 11 cars a lap down. And it's like a normal Bristol race in the first run, like half the pack's a lap down.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. I mean, another great example of it is right at the end of the race. Blaney is coming from, I think he was in about 10th for most of stage 3, and then suddenly his car just found some sort of groove, and he actually was able to make some kind of progress.
Yeah, he ran like shit all day, then at the end was great.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, watching him at the very beginning, it looked like he was riding a bucking bull. If you watched his hands and his head in the car, it looked rough.
Somebody was like, Blaney is going backwards. And then, like, if you weren't paying attention to the race, they would made it sound like he was like driving the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, for a next-gen car, he was. I mean, he was the only one out there that was able to give, I think, 49 of those green flag, if there was 49 green flag passes, about 10 of them, almost a quarter of them, were just Blaney getting passed on the first run.
Yeah.
It was bad. But then all of a sudden, he's coming at the end, and next thing you know, Clint Boyer's just talking, that's the fastest car on the racetrack. He's coming, boys, he's coming. 30 laps go by, and he does not pass a single car after he says that because he's up to 5th, and he just can't do anything else. 6th, 5th, wherever he was at. That was where, as soon as Clint said it, and I was watching it too, I was like, dang, he's actually moving. As soon as they put the camera on him, it was just like, that's it. That's all I got. I'm out. There's just not enough difference in speed from me to the guy in front of me, and there's nothing I can really do to knock him out of the groove because he can just shift and get that speed back.
Yeah, you can hit him fucking going 15 miles an hour faster, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you have to genuinely put somebody out to the 3rd, 4th groove, and by the time you hit them that hard, you ain't gonna have a radiator left.
Yeah, I hate how much momentum everything had, even like the races, and then the races automatically make all the podcasts great. You know, like everybody has something to talk about. And then everybody made that joke about, it's like, well, if you can make it through Richmond and Bristol and Martinsville and Texas and, you know, that stretch of tracks, you're a true fan, you know, whatever. And it's like now the last like 4 weeks of NASCAR podcast, you know, after the races, it's like everybody still talks about the same things we've been talking about for 2 years. We've talked about it on here, same thing we talked about 2 years. Tire wear, horsepower, shifting, those are like 3 things. And it's just like, it's so exhausting and so almost boring to listen to like, because I listen to every single podcast, and every single podcast is the same thing every single week about all this. And like we say the same thing every week.
Yeah, I've been worried that we've been getting boring because that's the only thing we can talk about.
And it's like this week, like the other week ago, not last week, but the week before last, and I was like, I got a lot to say, and it was about one of them fucked up races. I don't have a lot to say. I don't. It's just like no, they're not doing anything. So I don't care. It's like the drivers get out of the car. I mean, you're talking about these world class drivers, and they're like, I wouldn't even know anything was different about. They say this tire's got more rubber on it. You know, it's supposed to be gummier and got more rubber on it. They say they've done all this stuff with the short track package. And you got guys like Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Justin Haley, Brad Keselowski get out of the car, and they're like, if you didn't tell me, like if you weren't sitting here and told me something was different, I would have never known.
Yep.
So why even watch? Almost like yesterday, like I didn't miss the first part of the race, but I was listening to the race on the way home, and then I got home like halfway through, but I was like, I wasn't even like tore up, you know. I was like, whatever, you know. They didn't pass. I didn't miss a single thing.
Yeah, you could.
No one's even getting bumped in runs. Nothing. I watched I watched the end of the Braves game come back for them to win. I watched them sweep the Diamondbacks before I flipped over to the race full time, just because, like, I don't know.
You're not, even if you missed 100 laps of that race, you still saw all 100 laps of that race that you missed because it was the same as the next 100 laps. Nobody's going to really change.
To hear these guys like that are professionals that are in racing say, like, whoever gets the lead coming out of turn 2 or whoever gets the advantage coming out of turn 2, that's your leader. So when we go to Phoenix or whatever, it's been the same way the past few years. Everybody's like, it's the pit stop. Everything's on pit road. Chase Briscoe literally said on the radio, he said, I cannot pass cars out here. Like, if we're going to pass cars, we got to know on pit road. He said that. And then the crew chief was like, 10-4, you're right. Like, nobody can pass out here. It's like,
yeah,
pit stops are great, and I love pit stops, but I'm not watching a race to see the race on pit road.
I know. It's almost like the joke is that they started interviewing and showing the pit crew members because they're more important this year than they ever have been in the entirety of the history of NASCAR. They've always been incredibly important. I would say about 40% of your race is your pit crew. Because they've got 60% that driver. But now it's like flip it. 40% driver, 60% pit crew. As long as your driver doesn't spin himself out, hit the wall, or hit somebody else, it's good enough, man. Just as long as you don't lose any spots, you ain't going to gain any. So you're doing your job.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as at a short track, it just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. And they're not. I don't know until they drastically do something. And it's either gonna have to be bring a tire like Bristol, where you don't have to worry about horsepower, or give these guys 1,000 plus. Because Tyler Reddick and Justin Haley have said that they don't even know if 1,000 would burn the tires off these cars because they're so big.
Yeah,
and they're so hard.
I feel like it'd do more than we're doing now.
Oh, it'd do way more than we're doing now. I'm just saying, like, something to where the tires spin. Honestly, I'm not even going to go into it. I've went into it a million times. I don't even want to talk about it. Let's talk about something else. So I don't even want to talk about
I'm with you.
Tire wear. I just don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's like as much as we've already talked about it, it's like, what else can we really say?
I say the same. I feel like I'm a broken record. I say the same damn shit every week about these short tracks. And I'm sick of me and you talking about it, and I'm sick of having to listen to Dale Jr. and Denny Hamlin and Door Bumper Clear and Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi, because I listen to all those podcasts.
Yeah,
and everybody.
I love the podcast too, but there's only so many times you can listen to it, and it's just I completely agree with what you're saying, but I completely agreed with it last week when you said the same thing. So it's like I'm just gonna skip this episode in the same way you're saying. Might as well skip this race if we already know what's. The only thing that's different is who ends up in first at the last after the last pit stop.
Yeah.
Other than that, you just don't know. I mean, I was explaining it to. I watched the race at my brother Kevin's house, my older brother, and his wife Robin, and his son Hunter were all there, and Mom was there, and they were kind of asking questions. They made a joke whenever we sat down. The Iowa and South Carolina game was going on at the same time as the race for the women's basketball tournament, which, by the way, hellacious amount of attention on that. It's been wild to hear about it so much,
this
especially
is the most
with Bud on the
popular women's not just women's basketball, just basketball in general. I've never heard so many people talk about basketball. And you know what's funny? We always talk about like personalities and stuff in racing. And this is coming from someone who doesn't know anything about basketball, but I just have heard so much about it. Everybody talks about all these like awesome personalities you have in basketball now, with like the Caitlin Clark and the Angel girl from LSU, and like LSU's coach, and then this coach and this coach. It's like you got all these crazy awesome personalities that people latch onto, and it's like, I either love this person, so I hate this person, or I hate this person and I love this person. Anyway, that's comparable to racing, of what we always talk about.
It really is.
Personalities sell tickets.
They really do. I wish our drivers had more of an opportunity to to show that personality, but right now, you see all 5 of the top 5 guys get out of their car, and they just look like they got done with, like a relaxing Sunday drive. I know they are exhausted, but nobody's mad at each other. Nobody's frustrated with each other, because everybody's frustrated about the product that's being brought to the track every week. If you already know you're not going to pass somebody, one of them, there's no reason to be mad at anybody else. If somebody bumps the hell out of you, it's like, I get it, man. Like, that's the only way you're going to get me out of the way to pass me. So I get it. I would do the same thing in your position.
I saw a guy ask Kyle Larson. It was right after they had like all done the this is so cool for the 40th anniversary and all this, and that's all cool and fine and dandy. Then they ask another question, and they literally go, well, Ryan Blaney said nothing's changed and it's hard to pass out there. Like, what do you think? And he's like, yeah, same thing I've been saying. Like, even the drivers don't even give answers anymore, because it's like, what else do you want me to say? It's like, you can't pass. Okay, next question. I could have a car 2 seconds faster than yours. I can't pass you. Next question.
Yeah. I feel like one of the major problems we have is that NASCAR isn't threatened by anything else. F1's the nearest closest thing to taking over to them. You can technically put the IndyCar, I guess, in that same bracket. But everybody makes fun of F1. And IndyCar just doesn't really have the traction yet to really be a threat to NASCAR. So it's like, you know what? We're still the most popular motorsport in America. We're still doing something right. So I feel like there's just not a whole lot of reason for them to give a damn. They're having the best year that they've had in a while, so they're going to point at those numbers and be like, "Hey, look at these numbers that we're having. We're up across the board." It's like, yeah, because of Netflix showing the personalities of the drivers and showing who they really are and getting people actually interested. But then as soon as they get on watching these, they watch the first 5 races and they're enthralled and they're loving it. I was loving it. You were loving it. And we called it before this string of races came around, and we still got another one to go. It's like, there's not a whole lot to love right now. You've pretty much stalled our ability to make this. Not that we're big, not that we're making anybody sway their opinions or anything, but anybody on a podcast, anybody on a Race Hub every weekday, it's like, what more can they do to keep this entertaining? Because it's just not entertaining right now. And man, the announcers are doing the best they can. Clint Boyer's doing the best he can. They're shoving hot dogs in his face, trying to get him to comment on something other than this boring race. There's just, we're running out of ideas. We're running out of things to do.
All you got to know,
it's more entertaining to watch a truck race anymore.
in the Richmond race, we're in the middle of a green flag run, and they cut away to do a segment on Kevin Harvick's podcast. They cut away to do they got Keelan Harvick in the booth. They cut away to talk to him. And there was something else. I made a post about it. There was something else. Oh, they started showing pit stops from COTA. They take the racing that was happening at Richmond wasn't even on the screen. They don't. I literally made the post. I was like, the racing is so boring, and they have nothing to talk about that we are looking at pit stops from COTA. We are looking at Kevin Harvick's child, and we are looking at Kevin Harvick's podcast. We're not side by side. We're not still talking about the race. We're taking 30 seconds to a minute chunks off of this to talk about something else, because there is literally nothing they could say about the passing or nothing. They can't. They can't.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, if they're worried about money, then why did we get a new TV deal that increased the amount of revenue that NASCAR is bringing in? If they have the funds, they have the ability now to do something about it. and who knows? Like somebody posted it best the other day. It was an independent little NASCAR news Twitter feed. It didn't have a lot of followers, kind of like us, just doing our best to relay the news as we hear it to the 7 people that care to listen to us talk about it. And he posted something that was incorrect, and somebody said something to him and made fun
exactly
of him
you're
for
talking
it.
about.
I think it was Denny
Freddie
making
Kraft.
fun of him.
Freddie
Kraft making fun of him for it.
It wasn't.
And he got all personally butthurt and everything.
Yeah.
So, but he made a really good point of, we're just a bunch of independent guys out here, and we're trying our best to just keep people entertained. And we're doing this because we love it. Sorry that I fell for your April Fool's joke because Freddie Kraft posted something incorrect, and he did it intentionally.
He posted something about Denny getting penalized for the restart, and it was a joke.
It was a joke, and the guy thought it was true, so he posted about it. And it's no big deal. It was something like that, but that's the thing is we don't have insider information. The best we got is whatever Brandon tells us or whatever Wade tells us, and it's nice to hear those things every now and then, but we don't hear about a ton. So who knows? Maybe NASCAR is thinking about something. Maybe they're doing something behind the scenes that nobody knows about.
I don't know. The drivers don't act like it. The drivers don't act like it. You talk about
the drivers don't act like it. The owners don't act like it. There's something that could be done, but it just isn't getting done because why do it? Why spend the money when we're up across the board?
The best part of all this is having guys like Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin who are drivers and owners because they say stuff like this. And we've said it before here. They have the books in front of their face. And both of them have said the money that everybody was talking about, oh, save money, save money, save money. The money it takes to build this race car and show up at the track each week has not changed.
Yeah.
And they say
that money's just getting reallocated somewhere else.
Exactly. And they say, the money, want to save money on these engines. Denny says the engine bill ain't changed in 20 years. Same money that we was putting in engines 20 years ago, and they did have 900 to 1,000 horsepower. Same money we're putting in engines now that have whatever the fuck they have now in them.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying on the podcast a few weeks ago. If you remember, when you know what, you save me money here, I'm going to put that money somewhere else. Just because Hendricks doesn't have to spend as much money on the chassis doesn't mean that he isn't still spending that money on something else.
Yeah.
So what's the point? What are you really doing? Unless you're going to give them the car, you're not going to save them any money. And the teams, honestly, some of the smaller and mid-tier teams probably cared about saving a little bit of money. They probably heard that and were ecstatic. But the people that run up front, the people that pay the bills for NASCAR, that genuinely get fans there, like the Chase Elliott effect that they always talk about, Kyle Larson, anybody running up front all day long, every single week, those guys, their teams do not care about money. Those guys' teams have money to burn. So really, all we did was try to help out the mid-tier guys, and technically we did. We're having closer finishes than ever before, but we hurt the product in an effort to do that. And there's always been mid-tier teams that came and went out of business, went into business. At the end of the day, nothing's really going to be any different. It's still hellaciously expensive to run a NASCAR Cup Series.
Also, here again, I'm going to talk about Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin, which are two guys that did not come from richness. They came from nothing and made themselves rich and famous and very successful. They are also on board with all of these blue-collar NASCAR average Americans that make, normal middle-class money. No one wants to hear about how billionaires, we're talking about billionaires, between Roger Penske and Rick Hendrick and Michael Jordan,
Joe
all these
Gibbs.
guys. Joe Gibbs.
Michael Jordan.
We're talking, no one wants to hear about how billionaires, they're trying to save billionaires money. So quit shoving that down everybody's throat every week. No one wants to hear that. And it is so refreshing to hear those guys say that because it's true.
Exactly.
It's true.
Honestly, if you're getting into NASCAR, it's not because you care about your money more than you care about racing. Because if you really cared about money more than racing, you'd be racing bicycles.
There's just no way around thing ever. And I'm not going to say specifically all the people that I see on here I'm talking about, but I see posts on Twitter, and it's guys who are mid-tier Xfinity Series teams, and they post on a weekend at these hotels they're staying at and these big fancy dinners they're going to and all this, and it's like, but y'all all talk about how you're underfunded and all this shit. It's like, if I was underfunded, I don't think I'd be eating $150 steak in Las Vegas at the nicest steakhouse that's there.
I'd be eating Applebee's with
$100. Yeah, same. You know, and having a $200 bottle of wine on the table and all this stuff. It's like the correlation, man, is just ass backwards. Yeah. You know, it ain't. I don't really know. I don't know. It's just all that's so weird. It's my favorite saying in the world is like they just love pissing on you and telling you it's raining.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
You can only handle so much of that from all aspects. Yeah. From like my favorite one is hyping Bristol up every single year, and Bristol, you know, we say, you know, and it's changed a little bit now. Talking about the hottest ticket. We're talking about the hottest ticket in race and all this, that, and other. And you go to Bristol, and I'm not trying to be a boomer here and make it sound like it's half full, but, you know, 80,000 people, you know, when it holds whatever, it's like hottest ticket. If it's the hottest ticket in racing, I'd imagine that there'd be 140,000 people there. You know, and it's like you get, and Bristol was awesome this year because of the tire, but, you know, you hop this thing up and it's just the same thing.
Yeah, NASCAR's doing a great job in the PR department right now. They're doing a phenomenal job in the PR department. They're getting people interested. They're getting people watching. Now we need to translate that into people showing up. And the only way you're going to get people to show up week after week after week is to have week after week after week of good racing. Otherwise, you're going to have the places that are performing well, Atlanta, Charlotte, all those other tracks that
Talladega, Daytona.
Yep, all where the
Las
racing
Vegas.
is exciting, super close. You're going to have people showing up there, and you're going to have empty stands everywhere else. Except for North Wilkesboro, because that place is going to be packed regardless.
Yeah, there's people, I think, like if you were near Bristol, say you've been to Bristol before, and you can go spend all this money on Bristol, or it's like, or I could save my money and make a trip to go out west to see this banging ass race at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
There's probably people out there now that would say, I'd rather go across the country and watch a race at Vegas than see a race at not even Bristol. Richmond's in the same part of the country. Richmond.
Well, you heard me, you saw me post about that on Twitter a few weeks back where I said, at Bristol, you have this type of race, and it's not fun. And the problem with it is, I can't remember if I was talking about Bristol or where the hell I was talking about, but I was saying
probably
basically
just short tracks in general. Is this the long
just a
thread
short
you
track
posted?
in general? Yeah, no, not the long thread I posted, which I still stand by with everything I said there.
Totally.
I said, if you look in the 4-hour radius of Bristol, there are 5 to 6 other tracks that all perform better with this current setup of a car. And you're telling me that you're trying to attract your major fan base, which is all in the Southeast. You want to attract them to every single one of those races, and you want to sell every one of those out. The problem is, if I'm a consumer right now, with the way the economy is working, the way ticket prices are, I'm going to have to make a decision about which of those tracks I want to go to. And you're telling me I have 5 different options within a 4-hour radius, and people travel for NASCAR events now. So it's not a hard sell to make somebody drive 4 hours in any direction. You're telling me I have a choice between 5 to 6 different tracks. I'm not going to choose Bristol this year. I'm just not. It's not even on my radar of a track I want to go to. You're competing against Darlington. You're competing against Richmond, Martinsville. You're competing against Charlotte, which is a hell of a race now. Talladega. All these tracks that are within a 4-hour radius of Bristol, you're telling me that you're not going to sell me on that ticket. You're going to sell me to any one of those other ones because I'm still standing by. NASCAR's doing a great job on all those other tracks. But there's a lot of different people that want to go to a lot of different types of racing. And at the end of the day, we can't go to Charlotte and Darlington every week. We got to have something else going on.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, me and you on the bus.
I feel like we're just talking ourselves in circles.
Yeah. We had the same conversation. It was like, what used to make all of the tracks, you could have 4 short tracks, but all 4 of those short tracks were completely different. You could have a few mile and a half, and all those mile and a half were completely different. You had the couple road courses. Those road courses ran completely different. You had Daytona and Talladega, completely different, because everybody talked about handling at Daytona and just trimmed out at Talladega. Like, everything was different. And there's always like this uncertainty, which I've told you I have realized now is what like made me a fan, was uncertainty of these races. And literally never knowing what was going to happen until Jimmy Johnson came along and he won a race every third race. Statistically, that's a fact. He won a race every third race. I'm just joking. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what was so cool. And now it's like on these short tracks specifically, we could literally tell you what's going to happen. Yep. And we're 2 idiots.
I can't tell you who's going to win it, but I can tell you how it's going to run.
Exactly. And who's buying a ticket to that?
I don't know. I mean,
anyway, like I said,
what
do you say?
You take it back to an old argument that happened when this next-gen car got announced, when they said they were going to go to a single lug and they're going to go to 18-inch tires that had a lot more width to them. There's so many differences between that tire, even down to something as wild as something that I never even heard anybody bring up or thought about back in the day, but because it's a bigger tire.
I'm about to answer this on the podcast right now. Mom, you're live on the podcast. Don't say anything crazy. You're on the microphone.
What's up, Brandy?
Caleb said, "What's up?" She texted me yesterday or this morning and asked me if we were doing one.
Hell yeah, we are. What does your mom have to say to the general public about this race?
What do you have to say? Caleb said, what do you have to say to the general public about this last week now that you're a fantasy NASCAR owner in your little league?
Work. It was a lot of fun, even though I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I enjoyed doing it with you and Megan.
There we go. She enjoyed it. That made her enjoy the race by picking people, and she had fun doing it with me and Megan.
Meg's on here too.
Megan is also on here.
Megan, what did you have to say about the race?
Caleb, Megan said, what did you have to say about the race, Megan? Megan is a closet Gibbs fan for everyone that needs to know.
Little tiny squirrel boy.
We're not going to tell the public what Megan said about being a Gibbs fan because that is not suitable for the public to hear.
Ooh.
But I just want everybody to know that Megan has an incredible saying about being a Ty Gibbs fan that I will not repeat on this podcast.
I can't wait to hear it or see it on your Twitter page later.
No, I can't even post it on Twitter, but I will tell you later, Caleb, what she said.
Wow, Megan.
Anyways,
you need Jesus.
I'm going to let y'all go. Caleb said you need Jesus, Megan, for saying something that crazy. Anyway, I'm going to let y'all go, and I'll be done here in a little while. I'll call you back. All right. Love you. Bye. Sorry, I just knew Mom would enjoy that.
Technically, we just had our second and third guests on the podcast right there.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Lindsay also walked in here and said, hey, Caleb, earlier.
Oh, dang, I didn't hear. I must have been talking too much about tires.
Is Allison in Texas with you still? Or does she have to go back?
No, Allison ended up having to leave. She had to go back to she had to go back to work. She is having meetings today that are really important that I'm really excited about. And
are they meetings with people that we know?
Yes, but that's about as far as I'm willing to go.
I won't go any farther, but it's good to know.
It's exciting. It's exciting to see all this play out right in front of you. So she's having those meetings today, and I'm very anxiously awaiting the results. She just texted. They must have met for a long time because she didn't text me for about 4 hours till just right as we started this podcast. So
I love that. I love that for everybody involved.
Absolutely, me too. But
that was a good little break in the action.
Yeah, on a more positive note, we did have a little bit of a scuffle between Timmy Hill and Stuart Friesen after Stuart dumped Timmy Hill in the middle. I think that was turn 2 or turn 1, wasn't it?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't watch the truck race. I just saw it on Twitter, and every time I saw a video come up, I didn't have the I couldn't. I was in an opportunity where I either was too loud or I couldn't turn the volume up. So I still ain't heard the video yet to this moment. So
you too loud.
You know
Never.
more about it.
Yeah, he dumped him. I want to say it was turn 1. It was getting close to the end of the race. I obviously didn't get to watch the truck race either. We were in the middle of Festival Hell at the time. And Timmy comes up to him after the race and just yells one of the best sayings I've heard out of the truck series lately. He yells, "You gotta be better than these effing kids." That made my day. That made my day. Someone getting in Stuart Friesen's craw after he just beat up on or scuffled one of those little kids. And Nick Sanchez the other day, he just was shaking him around and all that. Now next week he acts like a little kid on the racetrack. Man, talk about somebody that goes out there and just makes another fool of themselves out of frustration. Granted, I've been there, but you know what? I got laughed at too. So sorry, Stuart. We're gonna have to poke a little fun at you. So that was really fun. I am enjoying all the under series a lot more this year than I did last year. Probably because we're in the middle of short track hell in NASCAR in the Cup Series, so it's more entertaining to watch the lower series at this point.
That is true. I was gonna hit on Texas real quick.
Man,
I do not know what to expect. Here's the running order at Texas last year: William Byron, Chastain, Bubba, Seabell, Hamlin, Harvick, Kez, Suarez, Stenhouse, Briscoe. That was your top 10.
That's a wild top 10.
Yes,
that is a really interesting top 10.
This is the race where Bubba qualified on the pole, and at the end of the race, there's a late race caution, and Bubba and Larson were racing side by side. Larson got loose on the inside of him and backed into the wall. This is that race.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what to expect at Texas. I'm pretty sure they blow a lot of tires there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this was another one of those right rears, wasn't it?
I'm fine with that.
Like Kansas.
I'm fine with tires blowing. I'll be that guy. Y'all can hate on me all you want. I'm fine with tires blowing. I don't care anymore. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I'm ready for some blown tires.
Dawson's missing tire fall off so much. He really wants the tires to literally fall off at this point.
I just need something to happen. And
yeah,
Texas sucks. But it is a mile and a half.
You.
But
I'm from Texas.
The state of Texas and everybody in Texas is fine. I love Texas. I'm just talking specifically about the track. I love
There's
the
just about a mile and a half
Motor
of Texas
Speedway.
You can't stand.
Yeah. And Texas has been bad for a long time. Not even with next gen.
Yeah.
Texas has been bad for a long time.
Oh, man. We haven't even brought it up.
What?
Marcus Smith and Denny Hamlin getting into it on Twitter.
I can't wait to hear Denny's podcast and for him to talk about this.
Me neither. And because he makes fun of Denny makes fun of Marcus for the Texas reconfiguration as part of it. He made fun of him for Bristol. He made fun of him for Texas. He made fun of him for Sonoma,
Kentucky.
Just his bad track record of reconfiguring racetracks.
Made fun of him for Bristol
that
Dirt.
Was a great little Twitter war.
It was.
I love it.
Yeah.
I hope
Marcus
that feud
Smith
does not
kind of
die
acted
down.
like a little kid.
Oh,
and Denny Hamlin was kind of acting like a bully, and it was great. It was great.
I think
I loved it.
Their true personalities came out right there.
I literally saw it the minute it got posted. I sent it to Caleb jokingly and said, "This is the rivalry we never knew we needed." I turned my phone off, put it in my little bunk side piece there, and went to bed. I wake up, and Caleb is texting me the whole entire thing. And I was like, holy shit, I did not know this is what was going to happen off that, little him saying that on that that little first tweet there.
They have since deleted it, haven't they?
The first tweet is still there, but everything else, yes, has been deleted.
Man, Twitter needs to remove the delete button. As much as I use it, Twitter needs to pull it away. You know what? If you say it, stand by it.
Matt McKinney lives by the delete button, so.
I think his pub deal hangs in the balance.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
But yeah,
that's
it was
hilarious.
interesting. I don't know what to say about it. I am just so excited to hear. Oh, I love it. I am so excited to hear Denny talk about it. And Denny, I only saw one person, Bob Pockris, the man of the people, asked him something about it, and he was like, basically just like, let my emotions get the best of me. It got way too personal, and I told you this is 1,000% been an underlying issue for Denny Hamlin. He has been thinking about this for a long time because he brought it up on his podcast like nonchalantly, and like 2 weeks ago,
and
brought
saw
it up,
an opportunity,
and then saw an opportunity, and that literally struck the match for him to say pretty much everything I think that's been like in his mind for probably way longer than this, but like for sure has been on his mind heavy for like the last month, I would guarantee.
We need to, out of all the things that NASCAR has made illegal that were fun, we need to eliminate and make illegal media training, because that was entertaining. That was fun to watch. Denny says he let his emotions get the best of him. I say, screw that. You were exactly where you wanted to be, and you said exactly what you wanted to say. That's not letting your emotions get the better of you. Letting your emotions get the better of you is punching somebody in the face. It's not telling them what you think.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's just like getting out of the car and screaming at somebody at their car. Nobody's going to get mad at you about that except for their fans. I don't know a single Marcus Smith fan. So just let it fly.
Marcus Smith does not have many fans, and that's what I was trying to tell you. But like people.
Oh yeah.
Not even just fans. Like there have been people in the industry that have hated the moves they have made since his dad was around when the boom started happening. And it all started like 20 years ago. And it just
still
like,
continues.
Still continues, yeah. And it's just now like, I don't know. I just feel like everyone, we're talking about these short tracks specifically, but there's so many things about some of these racetracks and things in this car that I think everyone is about to right here. Kind of like we were talking about before. It's like, it's either they're going to just quit talking or they're just going to start popping off. And I think it's this close to
and I want people to stop saying, I let my emotions get the better of me. It's like, dude, just say it and let it live. Let it ride out there. Just stop with taking it back whenever somebody just has a negative opinion about it. Like, who cares? Somebody has a negative opinion about what you said. What? So just let it ride. Who cares?
That's my thing. NASCAR has been always so hush hush on everything and not letting the public know about stuff. And I am so glad I've like having guys like even Brad back in the day when it was like a Ford thing, and he was talking about like literally the statistics on how the Ford wasn't running as well as like the Chevrolets and stuff. This was like when he was still in the 2-car. Yeah. Just like I feel like it didn't start there, but like you got these guys that are just like fed up, and they're going to tell you back behind the scenes stuff and let the public know. And there are guys, all of NASCAR hates dirty laundry. You got guys like Marcus Smith, whoever, they hate dirty laundry. And it's like no one wants the dirty laundry and all this stuff to ever come to the public. And then you have these other guys that are like fed up with all of it, and they're like, oh, it's coming to the public. We're gonna say how much we hate X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely, man. I mean, back in the day, the drivers were so vocal about everything. They said what they wanted to say, and you know what? If they got called to the holler, they got called to the holler. But nowadays, in the world of social media, it's almost like everyone's in the pursuit of perfection, and nobody's truly figured out yet that they're never going to get there. So they're worried about what they say, and they're worried that somebody's going to find them, or somebody's going to, they're going to piss a sponsor off. And it's like, you know what? For every sponsor you pissed off, there's another one in line that's standing there saying, hell yeah, I loved what you said. I know right now with the sponsorship model, it's tough to lose a sponsor. It's not like they're lining up. But give them something to watch. I guarantee you Ross Chastain's having no trouble finding sponsors right now.
No, he just signed the biggest deal out there, I believe, with Anheuser-Busch.
Because he takes chances, he says some crazy stuff, and he does crazy stuff on the racetrack. He's got sponsors lining up. Why is everybody so worried about it?
All on the racetrack. It's cool.
I mean, I bet Denny Hamlin's not having too much crazy trouble finding sponsors right now. He's about the most, if not popular, most known driver in the sport right now.
Polarizing. I mean, you either love him or you hate him. And it's awesome.
Bubba Wallace, I guarantee you that man has no trouble whatsoever finding sponsors because he's so polarizing. He says what he thinks. He gives a damn about what other people think to a certain extent, but he does not let it stop him saying whatever he wants to say. And I guarantee you he has sponsors probably knocking on his door asking if they can sponsor his car. So take note, people. It's not about the give a shit. It's about the not give a shit.
Totally.
All right, I'm off my soapbox now.
Well,
Hack
I
of the
do
week.
have
What we thinking?
NASCAR.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Me again for watching that race. You know, I don't know.
Hackscar.
The same. All the shit that we've said before about all this is the same.
Mm-hmm.
The hack of the week is bringing the same damn package to a short track that you've continuously brought for the last 2 years.
It's the longest hack of the week's name that we've ever had, but I completely agree with you. Hack of the week is the short track setup.
I had for trading paint, that damn gold Mobile One car that Josh Berry drove was
that
sick.
Was beautiful.
It was gold and black.
That
it was
thing
awesome.
was beautiful.
Had the suit to match.
Too.
I loved it.
I loved it too. That thing was amazing. I think my trading paint is the Hendrick cars all being that ruby red.
The 24 looks so good. So I love them all too, but the 24 with like the ruby red and then that other red they had going on the flames. They took that damn black box away off Exalta like we all said they should, and they did it. Proof that bullying works. Incredible. Love that. Love them.
Yes.
I still love
it was
the 4
amazing.
car. I still love the 4 car though.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm perfectly right there with you. That 4 car looked incredible. Mine was kind of a bunt having the Hendrick cars because they were all matching and they just genuinely looked good.
They did.
It was the 40th anniversary and all that. I think NASCAR ran out of things to talk about, so they made that like a huge, enormous deal. And I know that it is technically, but holy crap, did they talk about it a lot?
Yeah.
But the cars genuinely looked phenomenal.
They did.
So we are going to Texas this week, and we just talked about how wild of a finish there was last year with the top 10. Who are you picking for this week? Who's your winning pick for Texas 2024?
I mean, it's gonna be hard to go against Larson or Bubba. I think is your 2 guys.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm gonna throw Reddick in there as my pick. Reddick, I think, is my pick for winning Texas in 2024. He's always running good there, and I know you're gonna hate me for this. I don't think he's going to win the race by any means. They have not been doing good this year, but Austin Dillon somehow always finishes good here. It's weird. It's like his one track he finishes good here. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Points. But he could be a sleeper for a top 10 pick. I guarantee you his top 10 odds are super, super, super low this week. And I know that somebody out there is going to make fun of me. And I think that somebody is on the screen with me right now. But I think you should pick him as a top 10 bet. You don't even have to bet a lot of money on him. But I bet you bet $1 on him and it'll get you 15 back.
Dude, the funniest thing ever is on Dirty Mo Media last week. I'm not even sure who the other guy is, but he's telling Steve Letarte. He's the guy that's on Dale Jr.'s podcast, and I apologize, can't remember the guy's name.
Travis.
It's not. Nope, that's the guy on Denny's.
I thought he was on the Dirty Mo podcast too.
He might be, but it's the other guy that's always. It's Andrew on Dale Jr.'s and then the other guy, and I can't remember his name. Travis is always on Door Bumper Clear, and he is on Dirty Mo Media, but this is the other guy, and he goes, I got a bet. Here's my lock of the week, and Steve Letarte grabs his pen, licks it, and he's like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm writing it down. And he says, Austin Dillon is going to win this race. And Steve Letarte goes, my pen just ran out of ink. And I thought that was
Martinsville?
Yes. And I thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard in my life. Steve Letarte's literally got his pen ready. He goes, my pen just ran out of ink. And I mean, I laughed out loud. That was hilarious.
I didn't get a chance to listen this week.
And he goes, so you're telling me you think Austin Dillon is going to win this race or something like that?
What did he say to back that up?
That he's got a new crew chief this week. They fired the crew chief last week. I don't know if you saw the audio. Austin Dillon cussed his crew chief out.
I didn't even hear about this. Obviously, we've been doing rehearsals a lot, so I missed a lot of news this week.
At Richmond, Austin Dillon cuts his crew chief out, says they have bullshit strategy every single week. It's the same thing week in and week out. They fired the crew chief, brought in some other fella, and Austin Dillon finished multiple laps down at Martinsville.
I mean, where did he finish? Where did he finish? I'm looking for it. Holy shit. I don't see it. Good Lord. Did he even race? Once again, the NASCAR app sucks. I can't read anything.
It's just, I don't know.
Hold up. I'm going to find him. 34th. Yeah, that's pretty lame.
There's only 36 guys out there.
Eventually, they're going to realize it may not be a crew chief problem. It may be a steering wheel problem. I think he's just got the wrong size steering wheel.
Yeah. They'll get it, and they'll figure something out one day.
When's Austin Dillon slated to retire?
My pen also ran out of ink, though, on your top 10 bet with him.
It's just because it's Texas. It would not be anywhere else, but he's almost won the last, I think, at least one of these races that I've recently gone to in Texas.
Well, he wasn't in the top 10 in this one.
Runs
this
well.
One I have screenshot. I screenshotted the top 10 so we could talk about it on here.
Yeah. He has run well at Texas pretty regularly.
Elliott was 11th, Bowman was 12th, Haley was 13th, Busher was 14th, McDowell was 15th. That's all I got screenshotted. But
he probably had an engine problem.
My pen is out of ink,
I'm not an Austin Dillon lover. I'm just saying if there's a top 10 bet on him, I'm probably going to put at least $1 down because I wonder if they have the odds up yet. It's real early in the week to be talking odds, but
yeah,
I'm going to see. I don't know if I can bet in Texas yet. Have they made it legal here?
I looked.
That's lame. What are we, Oklahoma? I'm just going to see if they have the odds up here yet. Because that would be fun. I would absolutely put one down, and I would put it on the podcast right now. Austin Dillon, top 10 bet, locked in, and I don't care what you think about it. You know what? I still don't care what you think about it. It's not up yet, so I will put Austin Dillon down as a top 10 bet. And if I'm wrong, maybe I'm the hack of the week next week in my own home state. But I don't care. So my pick, though, is Tyler Reddick. My pick is Tyler Reddick. I'm going to stand by that. I think he's going to run extremely well. I think he's going to win it. Allison's going to be super happy. And that's about all I know about it.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yep.
We're off this week. Like I said, we got the Low Country Bowl Saturday. But other than that, that's about all I got, boss.
Heck yeah. It's about all I know. So everybody go follow Dawson Edwards on social media at Dawson Edwards Music. We all got to make fun of the size of his crawfish. If they're too big, we just need to make fun of them because there's no way he caught them. And if they're too small, they're very fitting. Just going to roll with it.
The best part is I'm not going to have any crawfish in there. So
how is that a Low Country boil?
We're going to have shrimp.
Man.
Shrimp and sausage.
It's like a mid-country boil.
Shrimp deal.
Just go down to the pocket and go grab you some crawfish out of there.
Yeah. I could
make
probably
a day of
get
it.
about 10.
Hey, 10's more than none.
That's true.
Kind of like Austin Dillon whenever he gets that top 10 next week.
All right, well.
Anyways, my name is Caleb Conrady. Follow me.
Caleb Conrady on everything.
Yeah.
Matt Burrell.
Absolutely.
Nikki T. Raise Rowdy Nikki T. This will be out tonight. Thank y'all very much.
It's a good thing you told them. They might not know that when they listen to it tonight.
I know.
If you're ever in Billy Bob's backstage, go look for my signature up on the wall. I finally put it up there, and I'm proud of it. I'll stand by that till the day I die. Love you guys. Thanks for listening, all 7 of you. And Randy.
Peace.
You're the 8th. Peace.